Howdy folks, today I want to show a AI difficulty script I've been working on, and then a couple other scripts as well that kind of make playing the game a little easier, and you don't have to modify certain settings if you don't want to. But primarily it's a AI difficulty script which allows you to boost the difficulty of the game much higher than it is by default, even with the elite settings. So I did a video a couple months back that demonstrates like how the AI is calculated, and then how you can increase your AI using a command. And one of the drawbacks of that was you have to set the command every time you load into a map. So if you set up like 5 instant action queue maps, and then you want to play with a higher difficulty, you have to set it for every time you play. So I'm just gonna show what I'm talking about. So yeah, like I showed in the last video, if you have your game set on elites, this is what it looks like by default. The player is set to 11 and the enemy is set to 17, and then in the campaign it will automatically adjust the Lua settings, so it'll boost the difficulty depending on certain phases of the campaign. But anyway, in that video I showed how you can use the set AI difficulty setting to adjust this on the fly. But this script mod will allow you to already have it set when you load into any map, which just makes things a lot easier. So to install it, you just go into the AI difficulty folder, and then like there's a readme guide. But here's all the various settings, and the first value is the player team, and then the second value is the enemy team, and this only works in single player or classic collection split screen. So the one I like is 1 and 4. So the 4 makes the enemy team at a 21, which is pretty challenging, and then the 1 makes your team one value higher, I think 12 or whatever it is. So that way they're still somewhat competitive with the enemy team. If you're trying to find a good difficulty setting, generally you want like well, you can think about it as like the players constantly trying to outpace the AI capturing command posts. So you want to set yourself a challenge where you as the player are struggling to outpace the enemy's rate of capturing command posts, and also the engagement difficulty of the AI. So at a 4, the AI is pretty competitive. They won't miss you on purpose. Like for example, if you have the AI stock at elite, sometimes if you're just standing still, the AI will shoot all around your head, which is not very realistic. But at a setting of 4 and above, they really start hitting you more accurately. And then if you have a setting for the enemy of around 10, then they're like hitting you all the time, and it becomes really difficult to push any command post. So that's why generally I wouldn't run a 10 or a 9 or an 8. And then here's some other settings. Like I like a -2 and then a +2 for controller players. So when I'm playing on classic collection, I'm not as skilled with a controller as I am with mouse and keyboard. So I just give the enemy AI a slight boost, and then in order to make it still more challenging for myself, I give my own AI a subtraction of 2, so that way the engagements are fairly competitive, and the rates that the enemy is beating my team and capturing command posts is still pretty fun. So just mess around, choose one you like. I'm gonna just install this one, so I'm gonna go with the 1 and 4, and then in each one there's 2 settings, or there's 2 scripts. They're the same thing, but you have to install the lowest number that you're not using. So if you're not familiar, go to your game data folder, go to your data folder, go to your level PC folder, And then when you scroll down, this is what it looks like by default. You just have like a couple scripts that are unused, and I'll show you in the log right here. So the unofficial patch looks for scripts above 10. So like you can see here, it found a user script 11, so it ran it, but then there was no user script 12, so it stopped searching for more. So if I had an 11 and a 13, it wouldn't have made it to the 13 because there's no 12. So when you're installing scripts, you always have to have like sequential numbers. You have to have 11, 12, 13. You can't skip numbers above 10. So that's why many script mods have like 4 or 5 different numbers that are all doing the same thing, just to make it easier to install. I only have 2 because it took forever to munge all this stuff, but you should be able to make it work. So to install it, you just drag it and drop it. Now it's installed, and then I'm going to run the debugger. Of course, this works with the normal version, and I'm just going to load in, and I'll show the change. The debugger allows you to see the AI level like I showed earlier. So now you can see the players at a 12 and then the enemies at a 21. So you don't have to use the set AI difficulty script, so it just automatically sets it for all your maps. This only works in single player, doesn't work in multiplayer. And so say like you have 5 or 6 maps queued, and one of them is already a difficult map, and this new difficulty setting is a little tough for it. You can always override it by going to the Fate console and going to Code console, and then just manually entering in whatever you want. So that would put it back to stock. So that way, most of the time I like playing with harder difficulty, but then for certain maps you can tone it down, and then when the next one loads, it'll go back to whatever it was set prior. Now I'm going to show the other scripts. So there's a disable auto balance. So by default the game has auto balance, which automatically increases the enemy team by like 4 points or so, depending on like how much you're winning by. So if it's like 40, if you're winning by 40 reinforcements, the enemy will get a 4 AI level boost. And I actually don't really like running this because I like the maps to stay competitive, and AI auto balance gives kind of a good rubber banding effect with the AI. So if you start winning heavily, the AI team can kind of come back, and I actually kind of like it. And then the next like 4 mods or 4 scripts are all kind of the same thing. So a lot of mods have different reinforcement counts. So like if I run like conversion pack mods or just a stock map, it'll have a reinforcement count of 150. But then if I run a BFX mod, it'll have like a reinforcement count of 250. And so I actually like higher reinforcement counts, because when you play with more AI, 150 will go by in like 2 minutes if you're playing with 64 bots. So what most people do is they would go to conquest settings and they would boost the reinforcement count. Well, the problem with doing that is this is by percentage. So if I make this 200%, now my stock maps are at 300 reinforcements, which is good, but my BFX maps are now at like 500. So 300 might take 10-15 minutes to beat, and then like 500 reinforcements may take like 20 minutes or so. So I don't really like having them different. So what these scripts do is it sets it all to 350, or in this one over here 500. And similarly to the AI difficulty mods, say you're playing a map like Han Hoth and you want a couple extra reinforcements because it's a bigger map, the fake console reinforcement changer doesn't seem to work, but you can go to the fake console and put in a SetReinforcementCount script that will change the reinforcements to whatever you want. And you have to do it for both teams, but I'll put that in the description along with any other overrides. And similarly in multiplayer, if you want to host a server, the popular tool is Star Wars Battlefront 2 admin, but that tool doesn't allow you to set the reinforcements per map, as if like if you were doing the BAT method, you can set a map specific reinforcement count, but this one will force it only in multiplayer. This one will force it in single player, and then these will force it depending on the situation. And of course, it only works if you're hosting multiplayer. But the second part here is the Jabba's BFX fix. So in one of the in the Jabba's Palace map, the Gamorrean side is like a third team, and the reinforcement count is set to 50. So if you're playing that map, the game will end within like 2 minutes because the Gamorreans run out of reinforcements. So all this does is set the third team's reinforcements to like way higher, so 500 or 700 in the case of this one. And so that way the map will actually play out and complete as it should and as it normally would. And you know, if you don't have BFX installed, you can pretty much just ignore this. It will boost the third team's reinforcement count on any map, but it really doesn't seem to affect anything. Other things to note, like if you're running the difficulty mod, the campaign won't be fully supported by it because the campaign will change difficulty halfway through a phase. So the difficulty will start off at whatever you set it to, but then once the campaign changes the difficulty at a certain phase, it'll go to whatever the campaign changes it to. So it doesn't really support it. So I wouldn't use this with campaign. So just go in here and delete the script. So another thing is, say you have like 3 scripts installed, and then you don't want the AI script. Well, if you delete it there, then you now have a gap, so these won't load. So then that means you have to go in to all your various scripts and just make sure that you're able to keep that continuous chain for 11, 12, 13, and so on. So that's something to note if you're removing scripts. If you want to install this to Classic Collection, it works just fine. So here's how you would do that. You go to the Data 2 folder, the Add-on 2 folder. Then you go to the 0 folder, go to In-Game Options. Here's all the scripts, and then it works the same way as the Level PC folder. You just find a setting you like. I usually play with controller on CC, so install it and then go back into your add-on 2 folder and then run this BAT. It's going to say something like, did something with the scripts, and then when you load the game, you can verify that it's running by going to the debug menu. So I'll just demonstrate that real quick. So there you can see that the script successfully loaded, and the AI will play, the enemy team will be slightly more difficult and my team will be slightly weaker than normal. And so you can also, do the same things with the reinforcement counts with the other scripts and fix the BFX map. But anyway, that's all I got. If I roll out any more scripts, I'll make a little update. If you want to make your own scripts or modify these, there's a script sources folder. It's pretty easy to do. You just need pretty minor Battlefront 2 modding knowledge. You just munge a level, look up the tutorial on how to make a script. It's well, I guess I put one here, but basically this is from the 1.3 patch. This kind of tells you how to do it in the mod environment, and you can just go in, modify the script to whatever you want, hit munge, copy your new script, and there you go. If you have any suggestions for more scripts, let me know. I'm still learning about scripting, and I'd like to get some other scripts running, but thanks and have a good day.